sun. Tryna tell me love you are the only one. She drive the boat, tryna smoke while she hold my gun.
The show will start soon.
She just wanna be my seat with the recline, even though she be fine. Hit her with a
We got a lot to talk about.
Is it just because I am the only one? She just wanna be my seat with the recline, even though she be fine. Hit her with a decline. Is it just because I am the only one? Shut up the trees, she stay with the streets. I heard the heat, I'm all in the hood. I'm smoking the woods. She all in the woods, I'm rocking the mist. She told me how it feels, she know what it is. I come in the vet, I come for respect. I come for your neck, you know what it is. I'm smoking the weed, that's side with these. She on her knees, she just on the police. She know what it is, she from the hood. Bad was, I'm all in the car, popping a bra. She smoking the weed and drinking Douce. Shawty wanna pull up.
We got a lot to talk about.
Shawty wanna pull
Advice for young men.
and she not a bimbo when she ride on 4 Giottos and she know she dropped the bottle. Oh, she tryna pull up. Oh, she tryna pull up. Oh, she tryna pull up. Daddy wanna ride until the morning sun. Tryna tell me love you are the only one. She drive the boat, tryna smoke while she hold my gun. Tryna tell me love you are the only one. She just wanna be my seat with the recline, even though she be fine, hit her with a decline. Is it just because I am the only one? She just wanna be my seat with the recline, even though she be fine, hit her with a decline. Is it just because I am the only one?
Welcome to the Check-In Report. I am your humble host, True and Living. Let me get my music and everything queued up. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We got a lot to get into tonight. Advice for young men. This is a show about advice for young men. If you're a young man and you need some tools and you need some guidance in your life, you need some someone to give you the tools for success, someone to get you on the right path, readjust that mind frame. I'm here for you. I am your host, True and Living. Let me get my music queued up real quick before we start this show. Here we go. Advice for young men. We are gathered here today to talk about a very serious topic. This is a topic that is very serious. We're going to be talking tonight about, well, not tonight, this afternoon, about traumatized women. Traumatized women. A lot of men, you need to be educated on this, right? And this is very deep, and this is kind of a sad topic to talk about. But a lot of men are dating traumatized women, women that have been through things in their past, right? Things that a lot of women. Sometimes these women. They may not confide in you and tell you the past traumas that they have dealt with. And we're going to get into a couple, some of the things that a lot of women are dealing with, and a lot of, and they get into these relationships and you wonder why things are not working well. You wonder why, a woman may be dealing with a lot of things internally. A lot of young women today, sadly, have been traumatized. And one of my friends brought this to my attention. And I had to do some reflecting. Like, a lot of women that I've dealt with, a lot of women that I have dated, they have been traumatized. And it's a serious topic because a lot of you men, when you go through your journey in life, you may find yourself dating some of these women. You may find yourself, courting this woman, and you need to be educated on this. You need to be educated. I think it's something important for you young men to be educated on, right? Now, a lot of young women, right? and this is real sad to get into, and this is a serious topic, right? A lot of young women, sadly, when they were in their formative years, when they were in their, even their adolescent years, sadly, they may have been traumatized. They may have been violated. They may have been taken advantage of when they were younger, right? And sad to say, a lot of men, you have to realize this. And you have to get that woman, you have to get that girl. If you really like her, if you think that she's a good woman, if you think that you can build something with her, you have to give this woman some type of healing, some type of assurance, right? Because there's a lot of young women that are going, through life, and they're holding on to these pains. They're holding on to these insecurities. They're holding on to these past traumas that they've dealt with. Right? And I'm not going to go too deep into like the details of certain things, but a lot of young women have confided in me, right? A lot of women that I've dated have confided in me, and they told me, when I was younger, I was violated, whether it be by a family member or whether it be from, someone in the neighborhood, or whether it be from, just at a young age, some of these women have been taken advantage of. And as a man, right, dating one of these women, and let's say that she confides in you about this, right? You have to be the man to be responsible enough to give that woman some type of healing, to give that woman some type of assurance, to give that woman some type of security. I think that's the word I'm looking for more than anything. Security. You have to be the backbone. You have to be the one to give this woman a different perspective on love, a different perspective on a relationship, a different perspective on how a man. Warning. I hit the warning button for that. A different perspective of how a man should treat her. And that's another thing that we need to get into, because it's not also just, young women that have been violated when they were younger and taken advantage of when they were younger. Sometimes it's even women that have daddy issues. It's women that never had that positive male role model in her life. Never had a daddy that cared about her, that showed her how a man should treat her, how a man should take care of her, how a man should protect and provide for her. A lot of women haven't had that in their lives. So it's indicative of you as a man that, you have feelings for a woman, you're caring for a woman, and let's say the woman is a good woman, you want to build with her. It's indicative of you to get this woman on the right path, to get her, mental state where it needs to be. Right? And there's women that are dealing with all different types of traumas. Like, there's women that are dealing with issues when it comes to their families. How many of you have dated women and they tell you, oh, my family is horrible, my mother treats me like this, my grandmother treats me like that, my sister treats me like that? I mean, how many times have you men have heard that story? When a woman tells you, everybody in her family treats her like dirt, everybody treats her. A lot of women are dealing with these traumas, these insecurities. And you wonder why a lot of women, let me just say this, where, because there's a thing in New York, right? In New York, there's a thing in New York where, everybody says, the New York women, man, they're so aggressive. They're so aggressive. Why are they so aggressive? Why do they talk like that? Why do they talk like, yo, son? Why are they so mean? Why are they turning up their nose? Why are they so disrespectful? The reality is a lot of these young women in New York have been traumatized. Whether it be, by not having a father in their life, not having a positive role, a model in their life that can show them how a woman should be treated. Whether it be them being violated at a young age and taken advantage of. Women are dealing with these traumas, and it's indicative of you men, you young men. And I'm talking to the aspect of a young woman that you find that's probably dealing with these traumas, that's probably dealing with these skeletons in her closet and with these burdens on her back. It's indicative of you men to not take advantage of these women. It's indicative of you to not use these women and abuse these women. It's indicative of you men to give these women some type of healing that they need in their lives. Now, I'm not saying that if it's a woman that's dealing with these types of traumas and this woman has internalized all of these traumas and now she's, just a bad human being and she just treats you like dirt. I'm talking about a woman that has dealt with these traumas and she's looking for some healing. She's looking for a way out. She's looking for a new direction, a new path. It's indicative of you men to help these women. Give these women the healing that they need, that they so desire. And what we have now is, what we have a lot of the times is, which is sad to say, you have young men using and abusing these women. Some of these men, honestly, there's some men out there that only want to date a woman that she never had a positive role model. She never had a dad in her life. I wanna have relations with that woman. There's men like that say, she had a traumatic childhood. She never had a positive role model in her life, a positive fatherhood role model in her life. I wanna mess with her. Because I know that she's like, she's dealing with all these traumas and she wants to internalize it in a sexual manner, which is absolutely foul, which is absolutely wrong. You're taking advantage of that woman. You're violating that woman and you're feeding the demons and the things that she's dealing with. If you find a young woman and she's a good woman and you want to build with her, I suggest for you men to give these women some healing, some strength in that time that she's dealing with. Now let me just go into the let me go to the votes real quick. I just want to see the votes. And I know we're also doing this in the rebroadcast. I also want to see what's going on in the votings. I just want to see in the voting, what are the people saying in terms of that? Let me see. How many of you have dealt with a woman that have, dealt with these, these traumatic experiences though? Have you dealt with a woman traumatized by her past? Most people are saying no, but then there's a small percentage of people that are saying yes. We have 43% people saying yes, and we have 57% of people saying no. Now, let's go furthermore into this issue, furthermore into this topic, right? Like I said, right, it's indicative of you young men that know that these women are dealing with these insecurities, they're dealing with these traumatic experiences, and a lot of these women, they're wearing it, every day. They're wearing it on their face. They're wearing it on how they carry themselves through life. They're wearing these insecurities and these traumatic experiences, and it's weighing heavy on you in their hearts. It's indicative of you men to help these women. You have to help these women. You have to get these women back on the right path. You have to give these women some type of reassurance. Do not use these women. Do not, violate these women. These women need a better way and a better path. And we see this happen in a lot of the inner city communities, right? I live in New York. Like I said, I live in New York. And there's a lot of young women today. And I know this for a fact because I've dated young women, right, that have confided in me, and they've told me when I was young, I was violated by someone in my family. I was taken advantage of by someone in my community. They're dealing with these past traumatic experiences. And you got to think, when you grow up in a Black, Hispanic, inner city community, a ghetto, if you will, a low income area in these neighborhoods, most people, they don't go to therapists. They don't get the mental help that they need, the mental stability that they need. I mean, you got to think, the ghetto, the inner city, the low income areas, a lot of these environments are set up to delete you. Think about it. Let's really think about it. In every ghetto, every neighborhood, what are you gonna find? You're gonna find a liquor store. You're gonna find a fast food, cash checking places. You're not gonna find things that's gonna sustain a community. You're not gonna find a hospital. You're not gonna find a gym. You're not gonna find an organic supermarket. You're gonna see in all of these low-income areas, it's pretty much it's an environment to delete you. And another thing you won't find in these inner city low-income areas, you're not gonna find places for you to get mentally well, for you to go to a therapist, for you to sit down and talk about your problems, right? And you have women that are in these communities that are dealing with these traumatic experiences. They're dealing with these things that they've dealt with in their lives. And, they go aimlessly through life, and, and they can't tell you why they're so promiscuous. They can't tell you why they're sleeping, why they feel so, why they're dealing with so much low self-esteem that they want to sleep with this one, that one. They want to be promiscuous. They want to deal with this boy. One week they want to deal with this boy. Another week they're hopping in this guy's car. They're hopping in this guy's car. They can't tell you or articulate why they're doing this. A lot of times it's because these women have been traumatized, violated at a young age. This is deep right here, what I'm talking about. And what I'm trying to get to you men is, if she's a good woman, if you know in your heart of hearts and you see a nature that's indicative of her being a good woman and that she wants to change and that she doesn't want to, go aimlessly through life with these traumatic experiences and burdens on her back, I believe, and it's indicative of you men, to give these women some healing. Give these women some self-assurance. Give these women some security, right? Now, listen, I'm not saying that you should wife up a woman that is dealing with these experiences and she's a promiscuous girl. She's a harlot. She's jumping in this car, jumping in that car. She's doing all of these wild things. And now you're supposed to be Captain Saver chick. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if you find a girl that is dealing with these experiences, she's dealing with these insecurities, she's dealing with these burdens on her back, it's indicative of you to not use her, all right? You need to use a woman in her proper context. You need to use a woman in her, you need to be helping these women. You need to be giving these women some type of self-assurance and some security. Some security, right? Now let me go back into the voting. I just want to check the voting real quick, just to make sure what we're doing in the voting real quick. Let me just make sure. Y'all bear with me. So we got 12 votes, and listen, just for context, right? Just for context, have you dated a woman traumatized by her past? 67%, ladies and gentlemen. 67% have said yes. That's out of 12 people. So you guys have to realize that this is real. This is real. This is something that's happening in our communities, and it's happening in our inner city communities. It's happening in the ghettos. It's happening in our neighborhoods, where these women have been traumatized by their past, right? And sometimes it may not have been when she was young. It may have been recently. Maybe she may have been violated and drugged. Maybe she dealt with an experience by a man where she felt like she was violated. It could be different scenarios that may have traumatized this woman, that may, have weighed heavy on her heart, that have the burdens have become burdensome on her back. And what I want to get to you young men is, and the overall message is, do not use these women. Do not violate these women. Do not take these women down further in a path of, down a negative path, right? Because, and let me break this thing down. Right? Because I used to wonder this, right? In my neighborhood, right? When I was in high school, there always used to be a group of girls. They used to sleep with everybody, right? They used to sleep with this guy, sleep with that guy. She'll be hanging around with this guy the next week. It'll be girls. They'll have, rumors about them sleeping with everybody and on the football team, all the popular guys. Pretty much, it would be girls in high school that would have, pretty much that stigma on them. They'll pretty much have, people talking about them, saying that they're promiscuous girls and they'll sleep with everybody, right? And now, knowing what I know now, hearing the stories of a lot of young women that have been violated, that have been traumatized by their past, it's making me wonder, and it's making me think that a lot of these young women that were doing those things when I was in high school, that were, messing with all these different boys, and everybody was talking about them sleeping with this one, sleeping with that one. Now it's starting to come full circle for me that a lot of these women were traumatized by their past. They were traumatized by their childhoods. They may have been violated when they were younger. And it's sad to see, and it's sad to say that, and it's sad to realize that. And I think it's indicative of us as all men, not just the younger men, but all men, that we need to help these women. We need to help these women. We shouldn't be using these women. We need to be giving these women the healing, the help, and the assistance that they need, right? And, I think that this message is just very important because this is happening in the Black community. It's running rampant in the Black community. I can't tell you how many women that I've come across with, and they've confided in me about these things that have happened. And you're wondering why these women are, going aimlessly through life with these chips on their shoulders, and they're carrying themselves the way they are. A lot of them are dealing with past traumatic experiences, and some of them aren't even really talking about it. A lot of them are trying to put that experience and that pain in the back of their brain and try to forget it. Some of them are trying to cope with it with pills and alcohol and promiscuity. So my message tonight, or rather this afternoon, is a lot of you young men, You need to use a woman in her proper context. What is using a woman in her proper context? Let's get into using a woman in her proper context. Using a woman in her proper context is meaning you should not be using a woman just for sex. You should not be using a woman just for your sexual gratification. You should not be using a woman just to, get your rocks off, if you will. You should not be using a woman and violating her. Using a woman in her proper context is what? Building a family, right? Creating a home, having children, her being a helpmate into your life. A woman is supposed to be a woman that you're dealing with or dating or in a relationship. She should be a helpmate to your life. So using a woman in her proper context is what? Building a home, creating a house, having children with this woman, making a woman a wife material, marriage material. This is using a woman in her proper context. A lot of you men have to get out of the mind frame and the perverse mind frame of just using a woman for your sexual gratification. Just using a woman to get your rocks off. Using a woman as a sex doll, if you will. A lot of you men have to get out of that mind frame. You have to get out of that perverse mind frame and, give a lot of these women that are dealing with these experiences, that are dealing with these traumatic experiences, it's indicative of you to try to give these women some healing. Don't use these women, right? And if you find a woman that is dealing with this type of traumatic experience and she's dealing with these types of things and you feel like it's maybe too much for you to deal with, maybe you should leave that woman alone. Maybe you should, allow her to go on her way. Maybe suggest some help for her. Maybe suggest some type of, some therapy for her, and leave that woman alone. Maybe you're a young man. You're not ready to be tied down in a relationship. Maybe you're a young man. You're not ready to, start a family. And maybe you just want to have, relations and sexual gratification. You need to leave that woman alone. Because your perverse nature and you being stuck in that type of mind frame, you may take this woman down a dark path. So these are just some things that you young men should take into consideration. These are just some things that I want to give you young men some advice on. This is just my opinion, but I believe that a lot of you young men should be taking into consideration the traumatic experiences that a lot of these young women have had. It's indicative of you young men to help these women, to give these women the healing that they need, to get these women on the right path, to show these women that, you could have a positive male figure in your life that is here to help you mentally, that's here to, guide you, help you to be that wife material, help you to be that woman that you want to be, right? We should be helping our women. We should be assisting our women, right? I'm talking about in terms of their mental state, in terms of the things that they're dealing with internally, in terms of the things that they're dealing with in terms of traumatic experiences. We should be helping them with that mindset in terms of their lives, right? Now, this is my thoughts. These are my opinions. This is the tips for young men. We're here to give young men assistance. We're here to give young men some guidance on a lot of things that they're dealing with in their lives, right? Let me just look at the voting one more time, because we're getting ready to wrap up. I have to get up out of here very soon. I just thought that it was indicative of our talk about this, very important show to talk about. But you young men need to consider what I've said here tonight. A lot of young women are dealing with these things, and a lot of young women, I'm gonna be honest with you, some of them are not gonna confide in you. Some of them are not gonna come forward and tell you that they're dealing with some type of traumatic experience from their past, or they're dealing with these types of issues. A lot of women are not gonna confide in you. They're not gonna tell you. They're not gonna, they're not gonna say anything. But a lot of these women are wearing it on they're wearing it on their hearts, they're wearing it on their minds, they're wearing it on their spirit, they're wearing it on their face. So it's something for you young men to think about. But I am your host, Truman Living. This is the Check-In Report. This is advice for young men, women dealing with traumatized experiences. Let me know what you guys think about this topic in the rebroadcast. We out of here, man. I gotta get out of here very soon, man. So I'm gonna holler at you guys. I'll see you guys in another video. Hope you guys have been entertained as well as enlightened. We out.